when we started the company, we had very much a concept of what we wanted our employee base to feel and look like. And it was informed by our direct experience right prior to Bright Horizons, which was a little atypical. We had been hired by Save the Children Federation to launch a nationwide program of emergency relief in Sudan. And much of the relief world is based on workers who come for the vocation, for the commitment, for the passion of what they do. But has long suffered from being a fairly unprofessional field. Childcare, we saw, had some real complementarities in that it's a field where people do the work because they're passionate about children. They don't do it for the money. I'm Linda Mason. I'm chair and founder of Bright Horizons Family Solutions. Well, we were started in 1986, and by my husband and myself, Roger Brown and myself, and we were living in a small house in Cambridge. We hired a couple of people. You know, we had our computers and typewriters, if you believe that, on our dining room table, and children's equipment in the living room. And we turned our 3 bedrooms into workspaces, and we just worked together as a family, night and day. Whenever we had a meeting of more than 3 people, we went to our conference room, which was the pizza parlor on the corner. And now we have 18,000 employees. We offer full service childcare and early education for 0 to 6. We also operate a number of elementary schools. We're all across the United States, in nearly every state, and in England, Ireland, Scotland, and Canada. So when we started the company, Bright Horizons, we wanted to change the way child care teachers were treated. You know, it's a field that has been largely undervalued and and invisible, really, and enormously high turnover, you know, about 60 to 70% turnover rate. And because it's largely not been treated as a professional field, we wanted to turn that on its head.
So I started with Bright Horizons 10 years ago at a center in Los Angeles, and I was there for probably about 8.5 years. And then I was relocating to Massachusetts, and our headquarters is in Massachusetts. So of course I reached out and said, you know, is there any spot for me out here? And what was really easy was making that transition. Hi, I'm Brenda Marie, and I am the center director here at Bright Horizons on the Charles. There's big benefits that are kind of necessary for life, which is like our medical and our dental. There are things like tuition reimbursement that is really attractive to families. Also, there's adoption assistance. I know I'm an adoptive mom, so when I began to look at Bright Horizons, that was really big for us. Also, domestic partnership and same-sex family benefits was huge. I'm a 2-mom family, so that was really big for me to feel like Bright Horizons cared about who I was and what my family looked like. Then there's small kind of perks where the teachers can log on and they can get like movie tickets at discount. They can get gym memberships at a discount rate. I know Bright Horizons offers things like College Coach, which supports looking into your college future and things like that. So there's a lot of different ways that Bright Horizons tries to reach their entire employee population, which is nice.
I started working at Bright Horizons 6 years ago. Actually, I was a retail banker and have returned to my human resources roots to join Bright Horizons. My name is Dan Henry, and I'm the Chief Human Resource Officer for Bright Horizons. Bright Horizons attracted me and was attractive to me principally because of the mission orientation of the people, the authentic leadership that I found here, and the sense that I could contribute to it. You know, sometimes you look for places to work that really feel like work. This is home for me. It really feels much more like a family, and I'm home here. We exist as an organization to really make an impact in the lives of working families. So we have a wide range of solutions that help us to do that, but more importantly, we're a very mission-oriented organization that really is focused on trying to produce quality outcomes for working families. We have 14,000 of the 18,000 of our people working very closely with children in roles that sometimes are called babysitters or daycare providers. We don't care for days, we're not sitting babies, we're early education providers, and this is a teaching faculty, and so it's been all about really having programs and processes and a culture that really respects that. We've been now recognized by Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For in the U.S. 11 times. We are proud of that recognition because 2/3 of it comes directly from our employees who are filling out anonymous surveys. And we are the only company in our industry to ever make the list, and one of very few to make it that many years in a row. You know, we get feedback constantly from folks, principally because we ask, both through surveys and directly in our one-on-one interactions with people. And I will tell you, the feedback we get from people constantly, I think, reminds us that we're always competing for their share of mind. And while many organizations are competing to retain their talent, we feel like that's an important part of what we do. What they tell us is the same thing probably other people are hearing. Value, respect, care for us, create opportunities for us, give us an opportunity to contribute back in our communities, and so we do that through our foundation, and never take for granted the fact that we're making a decision every day about where we can and will work.
I think the benefits in general are a little challenging. For somebody that's providing support in a department like an accountant or a lawyer, it's not all that competitive in all honesty. You know, you can pretty much in any other support position, as I say, whether an accountant, a lawyer, somebody in the marketing field, you generally would earn more at another company. So it is attracting somebody who has this mission-driven purpose about them. And so that's why they come to Bright Horizons. For the teachers, it's very, very different. I'm Marianne Tosio, and I am the President and Chief Operating Officer for Bright Horizons. What you see in this field is that many childcare teachers don't have any benefits at all, which is incredibly unfortunate. So from the very beginning, it was important that we not only offered above market wages for our employees, our childcare teachers, but also that we had a competitive benefit package.
What makes us competitive, we believe, though, isn't our programs. It's really our culture. It's how those things come together in real time for people. It's how they experience the rhetoric in their particular location. That's what really is for us the competitive difference. The authenticity of our leadership, it's the power of our program, and it's really relying on the potential of all of our people. And the programs are secondary. They help to support, maybe they help to create these connections, but it's ultimately really the culture and how people experience it that makes us competitive.
I think that the benefits are important, medical, dental, that kind of thing. I think it's very important. But for a lot of the employees that I have at my center in particular, it's more about having a sense of respect and appreciation and belonging. So you might have good benefits somewhere. That doesn't always translate into feeling good about where you go every day. The work that we do, it is hard. It can sometimes be not as rewarding as we might want it to be, but then we find those days that are just magical. And you know, we are in that kind of work where tying a shoe or figuring out a new concept is absolute payment. That's what we do.